Yes, sir.
Okay. We're actually live, but so I got the generic card up. What's going to be difficult at this point is being able to see if you're okay as far as audio goes. I can see, I can see whether or not your video is going to be okay.
Yeah, just text me suggestions on video. Audio, I can get that dialed in pretty good. The main issue is the video is
okay.
no go. So I've already adjusted some audio levels, so that might be improving shortly.
Okay. All right. Just you want me to stay on the phone until I see you, or call you back when I see the video?
Oh, is it just gone?
Yeah, I don't see any video.
Oh, Let's try this. Yeah, it's very weird.
Did you kick something when?
No, that's the crazy part.
Oh. Because when you started moving the camera, that's when I saw it disappear.
Yeah, and it did that during testing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We're still.
I mean, tried almost everything immediately capable of trying.
Yeah.
Even like a quick little flash.
Yeah, that sun's just not in the right place.
No, yeah, it's just battling against us the whole time. Let's see. And there's no room for like even to place a backdrop or anything.
And you can't put it.
Anything.
And you can't flip anything around, huh? You can't, like, there's no table on the other side, like behind mode.
Yeah, we could try that. So we're gonna swing everything out.
Okay.
Yeah, let's try that. We'll see what happens. It'll be usable. Maybe with a little luck. Yeah.
That sun needs to be behind the camera instead of.
Yep. Unfortunately, to that part, if you did a full 180, then you're going to get the glare from inside the glass that's right here. Kind of in no man's land, unfortunately, in that regard. Hang on.
That's not bad though. I think if y'all could.
Yeah, it could be better.
If y'all could get right there now.
Yep. So C1 here, C2 there. Should give us a chance. Yep. See you there.
Yeah.
Better.
Well, now I'm always completely off the screen.
Yeah, where he's adjusting.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, so just sit there for now. Yep.
Okay.
Talk to us.
It's his head's still disappearing in some sunlight somewhere. It looks like if that camera could just be moved more to the left, and aim more
Okay.
towards. Keep going.
More towards.
More towards the field.
Yeah. So we flip flop, and so I'll be on the right.
Keep going.
If this works. What do you say now?
Now just turn the camera towards the window.
Does this do anything?
Now you need to. The camera needs the sunlight needs to be behind the camera. Like the field needs to be almost behind the camera, and the camera needs to be. I don't think we're gonna have much issue with
like that.
Yes.
The only thing I'm worried about is you see that you're gonna get glare if you go that way.
That glare is not nearly as bad as the sun, though.
Oh, okay, perfect. Let's attempt that. So now we're just gonna keep sliding.
Yeah.
All right, let's try that. Select one. Two. Yep.
I think we're on the right track here.
What'd you say?
I think we're on the right track.
Maybe with a little luck.
It did disconnect again. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was gonna happen, but we're good. All right, let me try readjusting that. It's gonna be quicker if we can tag team this. All right.
Looks good.
All right, let's just size this up if you would.
Okay.
This is as far back as it can go.
Oh, it looks good. Can it be lifted up? Like, can it be anything propped under it?
Hold that thought. Maybe.
We got a lot of under table view.
Yeah. That be solved by just raising the camera or no?
Yeah.
right.
We can get something under it.
We can go up normally. Tell me something.
It's getting better, sir. Well, let's see. That might work. We're still getting, yeah. Let's go back the other way. We can turn. Keep going. Keep going. All right. Because you're sitting
behind this computer for now.
Okay. All right. That just should work. You want me to go ahead and start the show or?
Give me 1 second because that's
Okay.
That's the equipment computer. So it needs to be placed off to the side.
You might want to skip the rundown.
Yeah. However brief it potentially could have been. I think just trying to slide. Yep. Well, the mixer did. Yeah, it came just jostled. Gives 10 seconds, it'll boot back up.
I wonder, do we even need the intro at this point?
I would assume not, but.
Oh.
Yep, I had to reset it. It's coming back.
Okay.
It was lost in the great rotation of 24. I can't speak yet. Hold on to your butts.
You need to make a joke like, and that's how Bill becomes a law.
Yep.
No. All
Let me
right.
find a headset and I'll be good to go.
Okay.
There's one, there's two. Guest that ended on the floor. Set that there for housekeeping. Yep. Guest will be on 3. This is channel 2. That's me. Round and round we go. All right, if we're sized up, we're ready to go.
I'm going to just bring you up.
Yeah, I would probably intro or no? No intro.
All right. If you're ready, I'll bring you up.
All right.
Am I on? There we go.
Oh, he's on.
Oh, we're on. We're most definitely on. We're here at First Horizon Park battling through some technical difficulties, but welcome into Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. This guy is the hero of the day, Wade Neely, who, in addition to co hosting, has been handling all of the technical stuff to get us on the air here in the Lee Company studio that is First Horizon Park. Welcome to the show. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us through these troublesome times. Wade?
Troublesome for us only, in the grand scheme of things. Hopefully nobody else, struggling too bad. Everybody's just
hopefully nobody's struggling as bad as we are.
Yeah, everybody's getting dialed in. It's Thursday. We're here at the ballpark getting ready for another big weekend. Final weekend in the month of July as we get ready to get cranked up.
Absolutely. We got a good show in the next hour, at the top of the next hour, as a matter of fact. We will be joined by 12-year Major League veteran Nick Swisher, who will be here to talk about Home Run Derby X. It's a Major League Baseball initiative, I guess, and they will be playing here on August 31st, and Nick will be telling us more about that when he joins us again at the top of the hour. In our next segment, which is coming up here very shortly, we will be joined by Summit Wrestling coach Pete Miller, who was part of a contingent that went out to Fargo, North Dakota here earlier this month to compete nationally, and looking forward to getting some insight from him on that. We'll be talking Little Braves, very Little Braves, more Astros, little college football, and some Titans. And it's Throwback Thursday. We will be throwing it back to one of our more recent favorite segments, so stay tuned for that. But again, Wade's kind of catching his breath over here, so while he does that, Mark, let's go ahead and give folks real quick yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Baseball scores from yesterday in what was supposed to be a doubleheader. The Reds down host Atlanta 9-4. Second game was rained out. Houston Astros with an 8-1 victory over the Oakland Athletics on the road. Right here at First Horizon Park, it was the Nashville Sounds with a 5-3 victory over the Charlotte Knights. Today, 6:10 first pitch at Citi Field as the Atlanta Braves travel to the Big Apple, taking on the New York Mets. Again, that's a 6:10 start local time. You can see it on the MLB Network. You can also see it on Bally Sports Southeast. And here at 6:35, the Sounds will continue their 6-game series against the Charlotte Knights. Those two have split the first 2 games of this series. So that's your rundown.
This is
Your top story brought to you, as always, by Piggly Wiggly and Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch options, which are available until 6 o'clock. Also, their hand-cut meats and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you our top story. And the Titans continuing to add pieces as they try to recover from last year's debacle. At practice this morning, the second day of preseason camp, were longtime Titans offensive lineman Corey Levin and former Denver Broncos, former Missouri standout Shane Ray. And Ray is a particularly interesting addition for the Titans in that the 23rd overall pick by Denver in 2015 has not played in the NFL since 2018. Played in 2021 and 22 in Canada, was on the Buffalo Bills practice squad last year, never got up, but does have 14 career sacks. So, I mean, if he can, help you on the edge, you can never have too many edge rushers. But it's interesting that Levin is back as well, a 2017 Titans draft pick, came back in 2021 and has been with the team for the past 3 years. good to have him back as you continue to try to reinforce that offensive line that has been so problematic here over the last couple of years. And if he can help in that rotation, that'd be great. And again, if Ray can give you some help on the edge, so much the better. And if not, what's it cost you?
Yeah, I mean, you're basically out nothing. And Ray was brought in during rookie minicamp, and we thought we were going to get him signed then. And so for whatever reason, after kicking the tires on him, they waited. But you're right. We said it back then, and we'll say it today. I mean, having a little bit of extra depth, especially early in the process here, maybe light a fire under somebody, maybe see what Shane Ray can do, maybe kind of just push the rest of the Titans defense and obviously everybody, really. I mean, when you're in camp, everybody says it, but I mean, it kind of is a blank slate except for just a few key positions and a few key players. Everybody else has a chance to kind of work their way into the rotation or a starting position.
And again, it's not like Ray hasn't done it. He just hasn't done it in a while.
Right.
So be interesting to see how that works out. Again, Titans with an open practice at Nissan Stadium on Saturday. So check out titansonline.com for details on that. You do have to have a ticket, so you'll need to go to the website to get a ticket, but those tickets are free. So speaking of that, again, Mike Keith will tell you that again later in the show, as he is our Throwback Thursday segment, and we will discuss Titans among other things with him. We won't discuss Shane Ray or Corey Levin, however. So
he's not that good.
He's good.
He's good.
He's good. He's not that good. Let's take a break here from the Lee Company Studios at First Horizon Park. When we return on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, we will be joined by the patient Summit Wrestling coach, Pete Miller, talking a little Fargo, not the movie. Stay tuned when we come back.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Throwback Thursday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, along with Wade Neely. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studios here at First Horizon Park, home of the Nashville Sounds. Later in the show, we'll be visiting with Major League Baseball veteran Nick Swisher, who will be taking part in Home Run Derby X right here on August 31st. He's going to tell us more about that. Right now, though, it is Coach's Corner, and we are joined by Summit Wrestling coach Pete Miller. Now, you might ask, it's summer. Why are they talking to a wrestling coach in the middle of the summer? Well, if you've been around high school wrestling at all, you will know that champions are made in the summer. Am I right, Coach Miller?
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Pete, for years, has been part of the Team Tennessee contingent that goes out to Fargo, North Dakota, to take part in a freestyle and Greco national tournament for wrestlers from middle school age up through high school, basically. And it's some of the best wrestling that you will find for that age level, from what I understand. I've not been fortunate enough to go, but I know plenty of people that have and swear by it, and not just the tournament, but what it takes to go to the tournament in the middle of July and basically not get embarrassed, right, Pete?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's the largest tournament in the world. There's over 1,000 representatives from each age group for boys, 16U and juniors. And a lot of this is what you're going to see in the Olympics, freestyle and Greco wrestling. You know, here in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see Team USA compete for an Olympic title. And this is that style of wrestling. So actually every single Olympian that we have representing the United States competed at this tournament when they were in this age group in high school.
That's a nice little feather in the cap of that tournament, I guess. And I guess at the same time, for wrestling, it's almost a prerequisite to get to that point. Is that right?
Oh, this is the tournament of all tournaments. You know, everybody competes in wrestling November to February. What college coaches want to see is who's willing to put the time in between February and the upcoming November. This is the tournament where you will see every single college coach rubbing elbows, joking around, looking at the big names. And this is the tournament where if you want to be discovered, this is the tournament you compete at.
Pete, I'm curious, how much of this do you approach as a coach, obviously, but how much of this do you approach kind of as just a fan of the sport? Because it kind of seems like you're describing almost like a Bonnaroo type, but for wrestling, where there's literally everything for everybody at every turn, it seems like.
No, you're exactly right. You know, this is the tournament when we mark our calendars. The peak of our season isn't the state tournament. The peak of our season is Fargo Nationals. And this is the one where we're getting better and better as a state. You know, we now finish top 20 in every style, which is something we've never done as the state of Tennessee. We had over 100 representatives from the state of Tennessee. You know, and I was looking back at my notes last year, or in 2014, 10 years ago, we sent 10 kids. This year we sent 105. So this is the tournament you want to be at. This is the end all of be all of national tournaments for the sport of wrestling.
Yeah, and then I'm curious also, and I think Mo and I will get into it a little bit more, but you just kind of raised a great point. I mean, the trajectory of the state of Tennessee seems like it's certainly on the come up as well. Is that fair to say?
Oh, absolutely. Look at the trajectory we've had. You know, a lot of the national champions that we've had have come from Middle Tennessee. It's been great. But again, the trajectory is just showing year after year after year. And I can show it with statistics this year.
You know, Pete, you talk about the increased participation from Tennessee. Is that just kids and coaches? Well, kids seeing it and coaches being able to convince kids that, you know, to get to where you want to be, this is where you got to go.
Oh, you're exactly right. You know, it's pumping into these kids that these college coaches want to see you wrestle outside your comfort zone in the middle of July. While your buddies are hanging out at the pool, you're doing 2-a-day training camps with the rest of the kids from Team Tennessee. I think a big factor for growth in Tennessee is the fact that most of the coaches now in Tennessee have either wrestled at this tournament or they know how big it is to experience it and compete in this tournament. So just to be able to train, all of June and July to go away to Fargo, North Dakota for 10 days. I mean, come on, people don't want to do that, but that's what college coaches want to see is, are you willing to make those sacrifices before they make the investment in you as a college athlete?
If it was easy, anybody could do it, right?
You're exactly right.
And I say you, Team Tennessee took more than 100 wrestlers and they brought some skins back.
Oh, absolutely. We had 14 medalists. That's the most we've ever had. 2 years ago, we had 11, but we had a female national champion at U16. That was fantastic. Not only that, but, we were without our number one wrestler, so to speak, in the state of Tennessee, in Piper Fowler. She just won the Pan Ams. She's going to represent us in the World Championship. She's getting ready to represent us. So that was without her as well. So throw her in the tournament where she won it last year. We would have yet another national champion in All-American for the state of Tennessee.
And a couple of All-Americans from Spring Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. We had Jarvis Little and Zachary Little both finished 7th in Greco. This was huge because both their brackets were 256 guys in their weight classes. So to finish top 8 in that bracket's pretty big. But what I like with them, they always joke around saying that they're not Greco guys. So now I can hold that over their head and say, guess what, gentlemen? You're Greco guys, whether you like it or not.
Pete, after you go to an event like that, obviously you got to be fired up for not only your program, the state of Tennessee, but also Team USA. And as we get ready to embark on these Olympics, what are your expectations and what do you think how this is going to play out on the world stage? What would be a good showing for Team USA at these Olympics on both the men and women's side?
I'm going to be 100% selfish, and I think a lot of people, though, would agree with me 100%. On the men's side, there shouldn't be a reason why we don't win every single weight class. I truly believe that. I think this is one of the strongest teams, if not the strongest that we've ever sent in the Olympics in men's freestyle. Same for the women's side. They've been a lot of younger girls step up that you're going to see that have now made a big splash on the world stage. So I'm going to say go ahead and, of course, count in Marialis to win yet another Olympic title for them. But expect some of these young girls and young guys that this is their first Olympics to not only shock the world, but possibly win the whole thing.
Yeah, and I'll be fascinated to watch. It's kind of one of the compelling storylines, really, for the entire Olympics in some regards, is we get our first glimpses of some of these names. Obviously, all these names by heart, and their background and their weight class. You can memorize in your sleep. But it's kind of also exciting because you see these same student athletes then go on to compete further down the road, especially at the collegiate level. And it seems like the USA has done a great job of kind of fusing in wrestling, especially those world-class level performers, but also end up being great student athletes.
Oh, absolutely. One that we could talk about from Middle Tennessee was Nick Boykin, multiple-time state champion at Riverdale. He took 3rd in the Olympic trials at 96 kilograms in Greco. That was a hometown kid, Middle Tennessee guy that wrestled for myself and Jeremy Welder in Wasbo Wrestling Club. But we're doing it. Tennessee guys are putting people on the map, and we're putting them right there in the Olympic and World Team trials to represent our country at the highest levels.
Summit Wrestling coach Pete Miller joining us here on Coach's Corner on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Pete, you and I talked earlier this week about this whole process, like you said, 2-a-days in June and July to get ready to go out to Fargo. And 256-person brackets sounds a little overwhelming, but it's not just about the competition when you get out there, is it?
Oh, no, absolutely not. It's the mental aspect. You're in a dome. You're at Fargo Dome, and they have mats from end zone to end zone, 30 mats. They have 2 mats up on a riser with spotlights. Again, it's the largest tournament in the world. There's over 1,000 representatives in each age division. People come from all over the world to study the tournament to figure out how they can host something like this. So for Tennessee to have the numbers we did represented in the national tournament was big.
It's got to be a tough sell, I would think. Again, for all of the reasons that you've enumerated, getting folks to do this when their friends are at the beach and they want to be at the beach. But when you can bring back a couple of All-Americans like a Jarvis and a Zachary Little, I would imagine it makes it a little bit of an easier sell going forward.
Oh, it's definitely not easy. It's a very large expense on the families. It's a long time away from family. So those that do make it, it is a sacrifice, but it's something that we hope to reap the benefits later. And like I said, if you want to wrestle in college, this is the tournament that college coaches want to see you perform at. This is something that you don't just decide 2 weeks out, hey, I think I want to go wrestle at the national tournament. This is something that we put on our schedules back last August. We've been training for it. You get mentally prepared for it. We start fundraising for it. But what we also have is we kind of have some stepping stones. We have a freestyle or a Tennessee State tournament for freestyle and Greco. And I kind of tell my wrestlers, hey, if you place top 4 at this, we can move on to the regionals. The regionals is all the Southeast United States. You place top 4 at the regionals, we definitely have a chance to go and do some damage at the national tournament. So there are some stepping stones, but there are also a lot of sacrifices. So I'm very grateful for all the families that allowed their wrestlers to compete at the tournament this year.
Yeah, so I love the way you described that. It's not just you flip a switch and decide to go. I mean, you kind of have to commit, but you also have to kind of, in some ways, earn your way, right?
No, you're absolutely right. No, last year, McTorrey decided at the last minute that he wanted to go, but he found out real quick that it takes a whole lot more. But, you know, he got the experience. He went out there and competed, and he realized to himself that he can compete with the toughest kids in the country, even at a 2 weeks notice.
That's a daunting thought right there.
Well, you got to know this kid.
He's a beast.
You got
high motor. I'm assuming
this kid is different. I mean, he's different genetically. He's different mentally. That kid's different. So, you know, we've talked about your two guys, Zachary and Jarvis Little, the latter going to Appalachian State this season. Talk about some other guys that our listeners might be familiar with. I know Kyle Nielsen from Spring Hill went out there. You took Darian Vera from Spring Hill out there with Spartan Wrestling Club. Some other local names that went out there and competed.
Yeah, I mean, those two names especially, I think it's awesome for them representing Spring Hill High School. That's a fairly new program, but for them to be able to have representation at the national tournament was absolutely huge. Kyle drew the number 1 seed of the tournament first round that happened to not only be the number 1 seed, but a defending Pan Am champion. So he had a really tough draw going out there. The same for Darian. Darian had a tough draw, but again, it's not always about the results. It's about the preparation you put in to get ready for this tournament, so that you can kind of get your mindset for the next year. You know, the tournaments that used to be kind of big in your mind aren't so big anymore. So for me, it's the process and the mindset that you can take back from this was huge. But not only that, we've had a lot of studs that went out this year that didn't place in freestyle. You know, we've had Kaysen Roark, who's ranked in the country. He was a couple matches away from being All-American. You know, Summit High School state champion Braden Leach, ranked nationally. He went out there and was a couple matches away. But again, this is the tournament where everybody that wants to be discovered as a top tier wrestler and be ranked in the country and be seen by those Division I coaches, this is the tournament you go to.
And you take something away from going out there, like you said. I mean, competing in a situation where there are 30 mats on the floor. When you come back, as you said, to the Ag Expo, and the 12 mats that they've got out there for the state tournament, it's a little less daunting, I guess.
Oh, no, you're exactly right. But even for the coaches, some of the coaches get overwhelmed, and I just tell them, hey, you got to take it in. You got to break it down. This is the same size mats that we use back home. You got to, you know, cut the arena in half, break it down, help these kids get zoned in, because we as the coaches sometimes can get overwhelmed.
So you take a measuring tape out there like Norman Dale and Hoosiers?
Oh, absolutely. You better believe it.
Pete Miller, Summit Wrestling coach, joining us here on Coach's Corner on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Pete, before we let you go, what's the countdown?
Oh, for baby girl?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So due date is Tuesday. So hopefully we're able to take care of that. Not any sooner. We still got some stuff going on, but I was very fortunate that my wife allowed me to go have one last experience with one last ride with Jarvis. So that just made it even extra special because she knows these kids are just like mine. You know, I've been with them every day since he started. So I'm very thankful for my wife, Terry, for letting me take that trip. But yeah, baby girl, girls wrestling. Here we go. Ready or not.
Baby girl to go with Kale, as in Sanderson.
Yep.
The older Miller, just to tell you what type of family we're dealing with here. But Pete, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on with us, and look forward to catching up with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Go Braves.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you. Hey, when we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, speaking of the Braves, let's talk a little bit about them after we return to the Lee Company studio from this break.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
July 25th, 1992, Pittsburgh's Danny Jackson and Bob Patterson combined to hold Atlanta to one hit. That one, though, was a second-inning solo home run by David Justice, and it was all the Braves would need for a 1-0 victory as Charlie Leibrandt, Alejandro Pena, and Kent Merker combined on a 5-hit shutout. Lee Brandt did the heavy lifting, scattering 4 hits and striking out 7 over 8 innings before Pena picked up a pair of outs in the 9th and Merker closed out the win. That was this day in Braves history. That was a good day.
That's a solid day by some solid throwback contributors.
Absolutely. We could use some of that.
Yeah, David Justice, you think he can get up and swing a little bit?
He probably could.
I saw Manny Ramirez in the hallway. I almost stopped him for you, Mo. I said, look, how quick can you get down to Atlanta? They need some hitting. I almost did that. But I had to go to the bathroom really bad, so I just kept walking.
Hashtag priority.
So, yeah, I apologize.
Yeah. We talked yesterday about the Cincinnati 9-4 win over Atlanta in the day game of what was supposed to be a day-night doubleheader. Well, the night half got rained out. So that was it yesterday. And that wasn't a good one to leave town on. The Braves on the struggle bus right now. 1-4 coming out of the All-Star break. They won that walk-off game Saturday in the front end of a doubleheader after Friday night's game against St. Louis got rained out, but they've not won since, and they struggled.
That's got to be the frustrating part. I mean, that's a wild situation, right? You reschedule the game for the doubleheader, but then you only get one of the 2 in. I'd be kind of upset if, I was hoping maybe to catch 2 in one day, and then that's the one you got to see is the 9-4. Don't even get the chance at redemption later that night, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. So hopefully the redemption will come tonight when the Braves open a road trip at Citi Field taking on the New York Mets. Chris Sale goes in that 6-10 start up there. 13-3 with a 2.70 ERA, and I think this is the 3rd day in a row that he was supposed to start. So,
yeah, what's his mental makeup right now? Is he just like –
he's like, am I ever going to get on the field again? I probably could have pitched in the All-Star game if I wasn't going to pitch again until Thursday.
Yeah, you tell me this now. I wish I had known this was going to be my schedule beforehand.
Luis Severino, 7-3 with a 3.58 goes for the Mets. The Braves will have the services of, speaking of baby number 2, Austin Riley coming back from paternity leave for the Braves tonight. The Braves will also have in the bullpen Daysbel Hernandez back up from Gwinnett as they made a couple of roster moves. Short, I've lost his first name. The utility infielder, Zach Short, has been designated for assignment by the Braves. I guess with the recent call-up of Luke Williams and the addition of Whit Merrifield, Zach Short, of the 8 for 51 in 29 games, was deemed expendable because they got to find somebody that can hit the ball.
Yeah.
So
every option kind of on the table, it appears right now.
And again, as we were discussing with Doug Scopel of the Nashville Sounds here off air earlier, the trade deadline is midnight next Tuesday. So look for something out of Alex Anthopoulos' sleeve between now and then, or some things, because you could kind of throw a dart and anything that you hit might be a need for the Braves at this point. The Braves, who are still ahead of the pack in the wild card standings, only 2 games, but still ahead of the pack. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, Houston bouncing back with an 8-1 win against Oakland last night.
Just really roughing them up. They got 2 from them, and they said, we won't be pushed around. We'll show you athletics. And so Hunter Brown, though, was dealing. He was pitching very well last night for Houston. They got the offense going, scored in the first, and it was 1-1 while we were on air, and I'm thinking, oh, great, here we go. But that would be all that Oakland got off of Hunter Brown is the Astros with a little sign of life offensively. It was not quite. It was one of those deceiving box scores. They didn't get 4 runs till later in the game, I think in the 7th or even the 8th inning. So kind of slightly deceiving, but any win's a good win. And Houston desperately needed one after dropping the first couple to Oakland there to start that series.
Jose Altuve showing some signs of life with 3 hits and driving in a pair.
There we go. Be nice to see him skip the All-Star game, and so maybe get a little extra mojo going for Altuve coming back out here.
Welcome to San Francisco, former Brentwood High School standout Robbie Ray, the ex-Cy Young winner, making his 2024 debut after signing with the Giants over the offseason. 5 innings with 8 strikeouts, no hit.
Ooh.
The longest no-hit bid by a Giant starter in his debut with the team since 1960. I think they're going to like Robbie Ray in San Francisco.
Yeah, talk about making a good first impression. What are you going to do for an encore? But just for now, enjoy the effort, because kind of been a long time coming, and yeah, it was worth the payoff, or worth the wait, I should say.
I misspoke. He did not sign as a free agent. He was traded by Seattle to the Giants as he was coming off of May 2023 Tommy John surgery. So started rehabbing in June. Walked a couple of guys, threw a couple of wild pitches in the first, gave up a run, but was locked down from there. Faced the minimum 12 batters over the final 4 innings of his work, threw 86 pitches before leaving the game. So, again, San Francisco picking up Robbie Ray over the offseason, signing Blake Snell, the reigning National League Cy Young Award winner. Ray won the Cy Young in 2021. If they can get both those guys going, they got to feel pretty good about their chances to maybe make some noise in the West, even as, the Dodgers and the Padres kind of feel like they're head and shoulders. With that kind of pitching, you feel like you got a shot.
Absolutely. And we feels like we say it every year, but I mean, it rings true. When you have some dominant pitching, yeah, there could be the, crazy performance, like we saw with Skeens the other night, where a team just gets enough to you and your team just doesn't score enough. But by and large, if you can dominate that mound, especially in the postseason, we could see some really good things happen.
Absolutely. Talking about the Padres.
Hello.
One of the last teams to record a no-hitter. Got another one today. Dylan Cease no-hit Washington in a 3-0 victory that just went final here a little bit ago. Struck out 9, walked 3, threw 114 total pitches. And Ha-Seong Kim drove in all the runs that Cease and the Padres would need with a 3-run single in the first. San Diego extended their win streak to 5, swept the Nationals. Second no-hitter in Padres history, following Joe Musgrove in 2021. That's pretty crazy for all of the pitchers, all the great pitchers. Randy Jones in particular, I remember when I was younger. But for all of the arms that San Diego has had, they did not have their first no-hitter until 2021, and now they have 2.
In short order. Talk about, worth the payoff, man. We're going to make you wait all the way until 21, but then you're going to get 2 in a couple of years.
2 in 3 years, yeah. This is the second one of the 2024 season. I bet you know who threw the first one.
Yeah, I remember. Blanco.
Ronel Blanco in early April.
He almost threw another one, and then Skeens got close the other night. He was pulled early. There have been a couple close calls, so it's cool to see that come to fruition. What'd you say, 115 pitches today? 114 pitches. I mean, they kind of dangling him out there a little bit, trying to make history there. That was cool to see.
Yeah. Improved to 10-8 with the win. Cease did, after being acquired from the White Sox over the offseason. So San Diego trying to mount a challenge to the Dodgers, 7.5 back in the West. So nice accomplishment for Dylan Cease and for the Padres earlier today.
And he's been on fire. 9 strikeouts today, but he's been a punch-out machine at times this year with double-digit efforts. So kind of seeing that power pitching. Did not see the power pitching from the Red Sox yesterday. Feel like that's worth mentioning. They gave up 20 runs.
No, did not see power pitching or much.
And the
else.
crazy part is, who's it? Pavetta was pitching yesterday. Keep your eyes on him his next outing. He's done this crazy yo-yo all season. And he goes out and he gets hammered, and then he comes out and throws like 10 or 11 strikeouts and is dominant. Yesterday was a dud.
Hammered.
Yeah. You give up 20 runs to the Rockies. That's almost you just got to fold the season. I mean, just go ahead and cancel the rest of the year.
You start looking for relegation type situations when you give up 20 to the Rockies. So yeah, that's tough.
And Garrett Cole got clobbered too. So the AL East was taking some beatings yesterday, which I know pains you and groans you. But,
it does. It's tough.
Terry McCormick, where you at? Because that was tough yesterday from Garrett Cole as well.
Yeah, probably good that we got Terry on yesterday and not today. Yeah. Up in Milwaukee, the parent club for the Sounds, they're kind of going through it. Christian Yelich is going on the injured list and maybe having season-ending spine surgery. Lower back inflammation he is currently experiencing and is meeting with a specialist today. Among the options, obviously, is that season-ending surgery. Back issues have plagued the outfielder / DH for years. This is his fourth stint on the injured list that has been back-related. Second this year. Has been able to avoid surgery to this point. Rest and treatment are also on the table. What are you going to do? But also, though, there's a potential that I can finally get on the other side of this when all is said and done. We'll see. It remains to be seen, I guess. Said young Mr. Yelich. Hitting 11 home runs with 42 ribs, 21 stolen bases, and a .315 batting average at the time of his placement on the IL. Was in the All-Star game a week ago. So
yeah, I mean, there was talk that he might sneak in and be a home run derby participant. And man, what a difference a week makes. That is not good. I've seen him play a rehab assignment here at First Horizon, and that certainly had a more positive outlook at that particular time a couple years ago. It does not sound very positive right now for one of the greats in the NL Central.
Absolutely, and that's unfortunate. You hate to hear that, and you hate to hear about back issues.
Yeah.
Because, you hear people say once they do one operation, then you just kind of open the door. So, we'll see. Wish him the best. As of right now, it doesn't seem like that move is going to impact the Sounds roster, which is different because it seems like a lot of trickle down has taken place between the Brewers and the Sounds, but they activated Gary Sanchez into that spot, so who was coming off the injured list. So no effect here at this point with Christian Yelich going on the IL. We will keep an eye on that. Hour number 1 of Throwback Thursday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, shuts down when we return. We will have with us former Major Leaguer Nick Swisher to talk about Home Run Derby X that will be taking place next month here at First Horizon Park. So stay tuned when we come back to the Lee Company Studios after this.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Throwback Thursday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, along with Wade Neely, and the man in the middle is Major League Baseball veteran Nick Swisher, who spent 12 seasons with the Oakland Athletics, the Chicago White Sox, the New York Yankees, the Cleveland Indians, and, of course, the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, yeah. How you guys doing today?
We're doing well,
All
Nick.
right,
Appreciate you taking some time with us. Nick is in town. There was a luncheon earlier today here at First Horizon Park to, I guess, inform folks about Home Run Derby X, which will be taking place here at First Horizon Park on August 31st.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Swisher, he of the 245 career home runs, will be taking part in Home Run Derby X. This is the third year of this venture by Major League Baseball, and Nick has been involved from the jump, as he informed us. So, Nick, kind of tell people who aren't as familiar with this what it's about.
Sure. At the end of the day, I mean, I guess the difference between Home Run Derby and Home Run Derby X is Home Run Derby X is a 3-on-3 co-ed offensive and defensive home run showcase. So that's the easiest way to explain it. What it is we kind of put ourselves out there. We kind of recreate the baseball field. We don't use the full field as what it is. We have men and women competitors, which is amazing. We have our legends, which are ex-Major League Baseball players. We have our elite female athletes, whether they play softball or they play hardball. And then the third player on each one of those teams, which we had a competition here about a month ago. And we have 4 players from right here in Nashville that are going to compete as well with all of us. So I love the fact that it's an amazing event. I love the fact that it's a shorter event. It's not a 3-4 hour venture. It's really a 2-hour venture, really, if you want to think about it like that. And so I think for us, you know, we've done this internationally. We've done it domestically now. And I think the one thing we're really realizing from Major League Baseball standpoint is that this plays great in minor league ballparks. It's a very intimate show.
Yeah.
It's a very accessible show. And I think that's one of the coolest parts about this is the fact that us as competitors really get to do our best at giving back to the game that has given us so much. So I'm a girl dad. So the fact that like my daughters have other people to watch hit rather than me, they're like, Dad, we've seen you hit so much. Now the fact that they're able to see like Jocelyn hit and Mia hit and Amanda's going to hit and Alex is going to hit. And so the fact that we have these amazing female competitors that are only helping us grow our game and hopefully growing the Home Run Derby X brand as
step
well.
aside and let the real hitters get in there and do some work, right?
I tell you, man, once you see the way these women can hit a baseball, you will be very impressed. I can promise you that.
set to participate in Home Run Derby X here at First Horizon Park, in addition to the aforementioned Mr. Swisher, are Manny Ramirez, you're familiar with the name, Pedro Alvarez, former Vandy boy.
Oh, yeah.
Hall of Famer, or should be for sure, Andrew Jones.
Yep.
Former Oklahoma softball standout Jocelyn Alo, Alex Hugo from USA Baseball, Amanda Lorenz, a Pan American softball gold medalist who played at, no, she didn't, yeah, she played at Florida.
Yeah, she's a Florida 4-time All-American.
Woo.
Amanda Lorenz.
That's pretty strong.
That's what I'm saying. Don't be coming up in here with just 2 All-Americans.
Yeah, no,
we need 4.
you gotta have your resume correct, right? If you want a shot at this thing.
And Mississippi State's Mia Davidson-Smith, who is the all-time Southeastern Conference leader in home runs with 92.
Oh, yeah.
Third in NCAA history. Also, Kyle Bowers from Ashland City, Bailey Holbrook from Simi Valley, California, Corey Lubinsky from St. Louis, and Tyler Marshburn out of North Carolina are your 4 amateurs. Is that?
Yeah, that's what we would call them.
Okay,
yeah.
Amateurs. Okay. And so again, 4 3-player teams.
Yep.
Each will have a legend,
yep,
a woman, and one of those amateurs. So you'll play 2 semifinal matchups.
Yep.
And then you'll have one. So what? 3 games.
3 total
basically.
games. Yep.
And points are scored again with home runs.
Yep.
And with catches, right?
Which is the best part about it,
Okay.
right? I think that's one of the coolest part about Home Run Derby X is being able to bring in that defensive side of the game. Everybody appreciates a home run, and we see a lot of those throughout baseball, but the diving plays, the amazing athleticism that we can see in the outfield, I think that's just an added dimension that I think separates our game from any other home run derby out there. So we're really, really excited about that. The fact that we've got offensive players, we've got defensive players, we've got men, we've got women, an all-inclusive game, man. Really, really excited to come here and put on a show here on the 31st.
So basically, the ideal would be for Andrew Jones to rob a home run, right?
Yeah, rob them and hit them.
There we go.
Yes,
there we
sir.
go.
That's the
Multifaceted. Nick, I got to ask you before we really get too far. I don't know if the team names have been announced yet, because I'm going back through some of these older team names. I mean, Johnny Gomes with the steamed cheeseburgers.
Yep.
But you went with the bouncing pickles.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in Hartford.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think that's the another cool thing that we've got going is it's not just Major League Baseball. This is showcasing the Nashville Sounds as well. And so we will be using 4 of their jerseys. I think we're the Nashville, the Hot Chickens.
Yeah.
We've got the Hit City. You've got the Sounds, and I think there's one other jersey that I'm missing. But the fact that we're able to go out and showcase all of the jerseys that the Sounds have to offer, that's exactly what we want to do. That's a really cool thing.
I think the 4th one is the Brewskis.
Yeah, the
according
Brewskis.
to the
Correct.
Best for last.
Cam.
We'll be having a few of those after.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
After?
After.
But not during.
No, not during, just after.
Not during.
Just after.
Okay. Well, I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So, Nick Swisher joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, telling you about Home Run Derby X that will be here at First Horizon Park on August 31st. Nick, your final year in the majors was 2015.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been doing since then to kind of keep yourself in home run shape?
Well, I feel like I'm a little more busy now than I was during my career. I've got a few jobs that I've got right now. My first job and my favorite job, by far, being a special advisor for the New York Yankees, is absolutely fantastic. The fact that I have my hand on the pulse, get to feel, like what's happening in the game, and right now with where analytics are going and the whole night, I've learned so much over the last handful of years, and being able to report back to our general manager and our owner, as well as Kevin Reese, our farm director. It's just been a blessing for me to still be part of the family that I love so much. And they've pulled me out of the gutter twice in my life. And the fact that I'm able to be part of an amazing organization like the New York Yankees is by far my favorite job. My second favorite job is the Commissioner's Ambassador Program, working with Rob Manfred in the Commissioner's office, which is absolutely fantastic. Number 3, here with Home Run Derby X, and being able to give back to the game that has given me everything that I have, the roof over my head, the car that I drive, the food that I eat, the fact that I'm not able to compete at the big league level, but still able to compete for the brand and still able to go out and show kids that this game is fun. And being able to bring that next generation of young players into our game is exactly what we're trying to do here with Home Run Derby X.
And that was something I wanted to ask you about as well. The choosing of the charities, is that kind of left up to each individual, or kind of walk us through that process? Because to me, that's one of the coolest things of all is that you guys are going to be giving back as well.
100%. I think that's the name of the game here with Home Run Derby X is give back. You know, I feel like that all of us, from Manny to Andrew to Pedro to myself, as all the female competitors we have, this game, softball, baseball, has given us our livelihood, has given us our passion in life. So the fact that we have the ability to give back to the charities that really mean something to us is something fantastic and an amazing thing to be able to do. Major League Baseball has done such a tremendous job at vetting these certain charities and figuring out where we feel like we can fit in the best. But at the end of the day, the fact that we're giving back at all is the name of the game.
Absolutely. And, an impressive lineup. We saw Manny walking through the hallway earlier.
He looks great.
He looks great. I mean, he's just beaming from ear to ear. You can tell it seems like he's really fired up to be a part of this as well.
Yeah, and we're so blessed to be able to have somebody like that. I mean, obviously, this is the third year in existence for Home Run Derby X. We have really developed a great family atmosphere, which is amazing. The fact that we can bring in female competitors as well as male competitors, it brings in the younger generation, man. Young females want to come and watch this. Younger men want to come watch this. So I think for all of us, man, we're so excited to be part of it. Andrew Jones as well. The fact that we are rolling out some massive names this year, we're really going to start to gain a lot of traction now because of those two names. There's no doubt about it. And obviously, Pedro Alvarez, an ex-Vandy boy right down the road here, I'm sure he's going to bring in a whole grip of people as well. So the fact that we have some familiarity with guys who maybe have played in this ballpark or maybe have played in the colleges that are close to this, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that these minor league teams get out of this competition everything that they want to, as well as everything that we need to get out of it as well.
I love it.
Nick, some of us on this show are of a certain age that I have to be careful to call you Nick and not Steve.
I'll take it though.
Because as I was growing up, I had your dad's baseball card, you know, through his years with the Cubs, the Cardinals, and the Padres. What is it like growing up and being a major leaguer, but being the son of a major leaguer?
Well, you know, I can definitely tell you that I had an added advantage. There's no doubt about it. The fact that you can, my father, my hero, my idol, somebody who meant so much to me, could roll me out the blueprint on how to do what I wanted to do in my life because he had been there and he had done that. And I think it's also great to be able to listen to somebody who's been there and done that because there's no guesswork. He knew exactly the work that was going to take. He knew exactly the ups and the downs that I was going to go through. He taught me that I had to be mentally tough. And I think nowadays, man, sometimes that's sort of the path that needs to be taken. This world is only getting more competitive as we go up. Now only 20 rounds in the Major League Draft now. So there's just more and more players that are coming in and fighting for those spots from all the way from rookie ball to the big leagues. And I think the one thing that I would also tell young players out there is that I don't want to hear this, I want to play in the big leagues anymore. I want to hear you want to stay in the big leagues. You want to make your mark in the big leagues. It's not all about getting up to the show and getting your cup of coffee and coming home. That's not what we're all about. We're about going out there, giving everything we've got to this game and seeing exactly where it's going to take us. Because if you give everything that you have to this game, I can promise you it'll give you something back.
And everybody in this game will tell you that it's much easier to get here than it is to stay here.
No, ain't no doubt about it. I mean, listen, injuries happen a lot. You know, being hot at the right time helps. But at the end of the day, when you get up there to the show, you quickly realize the talent level. And I think that's one of the things that minor league players need to understand is the drastic change from AAA to the big leagues is such a huge gap now that it's hard for guys to get up because they're like, wow, the talent level is so much better. I wasn't prepared for this. So then when they get that one opportunity, then they might not make the best advantage of it, take advantage of it because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So at the end of the day, when you get that time, regardless of when it is, whether it's your first year in the big leagues, the second year, you're like, whenever it is in your professional career, you have to be ready to make that mark.
Maximize.
You have to be ready to take that shot because if you don't, there's going to be somebody, I can promise you, whether from the Dominican, whether from over in Asia or a global sport now we're in, somebody is going to be prepared for that moment. So you better be the one that's ready.
Nick Swisher, he'll be in action down there on August 31st for Home Run Derby X, along with Manny Ramirez, Pedro Alvarez, Andrew Jones, and a host of others. Tickets on sale?
Yes, sir. Ticketmaster, NashvilleSounds.com, baby. I got you. I'll plug it all.
There we go.
I'm ready.
There we go. The multi-talented Nick Swisher joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Nick, we appreciate it.
100%, man. It's a pleasure to meet you guys. Can't wait to see you guys on the 31st, man.
Sounds good.
Sound like a plan?
That works. That works. You can get us in. Huh? You know a guy, right?
He's got
a guy for you.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. When we come back, it's Throwback Thursday. We'll be throwing it back to a recent visit with the VOT, Mike Keith. Stay tuned.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
We're now joined by the VOT, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Keith. Mike, you had any good barbecue lately?
Yes. I went to Memphis on Friday, so I've definitely had some good barbecue. That's for certain.
I know you did. I saw your tweet actually from Pollard's Barbecue, which I was unfamiliar with, but I'm sure they got a bump or will get a bump from people who have seen that tweet. The Pollard family, Titans running back Tony Pollard,
that's right,
are the proprietors of that eatery down there. How was it?
It was really good. It was really, really not surprising. I mean, there's a lot of great barbecue in Memphis, and I haven't met much barbecue I didn't think was really good. I like it, most all of it. But it was especially good. I thought their ribs were top of the line. There are different points that I think Memphis ribs can be overrated sometimes, and these were underrated in terms of that line. It was a lot more rib than it was just seasoning or sort of gristle. I mean, a lot of times it's over. They do the whole massive amount of rub, and the rub's supposed to be the thing, and then the rib itself isn't really that good. This was their rub is excellent. Their sauce is excellent. I like a dry rib. That's where I really judge that. But if you can find a sauce that goes with it, that's really something else. You go to Kansas City, get that, it's like they put like 8 things of sauce on it. It's like, I don't want that, I don't want it all over.
I feel like you're trying to cover something up if you're giving me a lot of sauce.
Right, right.
So,
well, I mean, some people like that, but I just think that's And if you find a good dry rib, and then you can sort of give it just a little dunk of sauce to your heart's content, because the sauce is so good.
Right.
it was a good spot. They had fried bologna, which made me very happy. Yeah, made me very, very happy. I thought their chicken was really good too. They had what I consider a delicacy, barbecued spaghetti, which you can't find anywhere. And that's because the barbecue sauce has to be good enough that it can go with the spaghetti.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good spot. I came away very happy. I don't think I ate dinner on Friday because I was so full from lunch. If I did, I just had something really small. Can't remember. It was great.
Awesome. Solid review for sure, it sounds like.
Not afraid. Yeah, not afraid to give it a big thumbs up. You know, if it weren't good, I just wouldn't have said anything.
There you go.
It really is.
Savvy move there.
His parents are delightful. They are so excited that he is part of our team now and coming up for practice on Saturday, which is our first open practice at the stadium in 5 years. And so we're really excited about that. You do need a ticket, by the way. You have to go online and get a ticket. Tickets are free, but they want to be able to make sure they know how many people they have in the house. But his folks are coming up for that. So
are they bringing a care package with?
You know, it's an interesting question. I asked them if they had planned to do tailgating, and they did not tailgate in Dallas because obviously Memphis to Dallas is a haul. Mm-hmm. But they think they are going to do some tailgating here in Nashville because it's only from where they are probably a 3-hour, 15-minute ride.
Mm-hmm. Now, when they tailgate, I mean, they might not want to tailgate because they're cooking all the time anyway. I mean, that'll be interesting. Are they going to be charging a surcharge out there? Or how will they?
So they're open on Sundays in Memphis. Pollard's Barbecue, which is on Elvis Presley Boulevard, it's open on Sundays. And I said, so what are you going to do? Because the whole family works there. I mean, it's really a thing, and you know,
that's the wonderful thing about owning your own business, right?
I guess
you're constantly working.
I wouldn't want to do it. So I said, so what do you do on game day? They go, oh, we close. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's, it's not like, well, we have to stick around. Nope, we're closing.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine folks understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Mike, so I guess after you had Pollard's on Friday, you didn't eat until the Sports Hall of Fame banquet on Saturday, right?
That's about right. Yeah, that's about right. It was a long couple of days, no doubt. I was in East Tennessee yesterday, so I was kind of moving around a little bit over the last 3 days. But Saturday was the stay-at-home day, and it turned out we were at the Omni with the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, which Brad Willis does an amazing job putting together. And the dinner, it turned out to be a really, really wonderful night overall. I think people were kind of blown away by the number of different sports that were represented throughout the inductees. It was really quite amazing. One of the more interesting groups that we've ever had in terms of coming from all different spectrums of sport.
Yeah, and that's what I'm curious, Mike, is who kind of stole the show in your mind? Because talk about a diverse class. That was that's always the fun thing with just even reading through the bios of everybody, whether you're familiar with them or not. This Hall of Fame induction ceremony touches so many different realms in so many different ways. I'm curious, kind of your takeaway. Who maybe, if anybody, kind of really, really captivated the audience this weekend?
I think it's Bill Dance. I think that to me was the one that sort of got everybody. If it wasn't Bill Dance, it was Scott Hamilton. And they were very close, 1A, 1B. The other thing that was really interesting too, so they had a legacy award. So we do honors and then we do inductees. Mm-hmm. And Bill Dance was actually the Tennessean of the year, and he's already an inductee. He's already in. So he was good in that role. Scott Hamilton was an inductee, but the legacy award went to White Station High School, and it was for their basketball teams through 2000 through 2004. They played nearly 200 games in those seasons and lost a grand total of 12.
It was Dave Bradshaw back then, right?
Dave Bradshaw was there.
Yeah.
He was there that night, and they played they had the 15-player rotation. So they would go 5 in, 5 in, 5 in. One of their teams, the high score, averaged like 9.4 points per game. And I remember those teams vividly. And so they brought 130 people with them.
Wow.
So nobody got to speak from that group, or else we'd still be there. But, they came up and they were presented, and it was quite amazing.
I saw a tweet over the weekend, Mike, referencing Todd Helton's induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame. So I guess it was yesterday that I saw it, referencing Todd Helton's induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Dalton Connect's being drafted a few weeks ago, and Chris Burke's induction Saturday night into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. And they said, nobody is more proud of their school than University of Tennessee student athletes. It was a picture of Dalton showing the lining of the jacket that he wore to the draft that night. It was tied with the power T lapel pin and the orange jacket that Chris wore Saturday night. And I just thought that was really kind of cool, the way they literally wear their allegiance to UT.
Yeah, I think Tennessee was obviously very proud overall of, not only the weekend they had, but really the last school year.
Mm-hmm.
They certainly had a lot of success in sports, and they've had a lot of their guys out and about. The Todd Helton Baseball Hall of Fame, just the whole thing, from the moment it was announced, waiting to see if he would get in. My wife and I were in a restaurant out west, and we happened to walk in just at the moment that they were announcing. And, just to sit there and wait and watch and see. And I think he got in by like 2%, 3%, something like that. It was really amazing. And so to follow all of that, and I covered Todd in high school at Central.
Mm-hmm.
I did one of his football games when he was a freshman in high school. So followed him all the way up. Obviously did all of the baseball games on the radio at Tennessee. And I mean, he's a huge reason I'm here. Probably more than any other athlete, because he gave me a chance to call some crazy stuff in college. And, that improves your tape a little bit. When somebody gives you good material that way, just like an actor, when he gets a good script, when you get good material, it helps you be able to do some things that people might notice. So I was certainly very appreciative to have those 3 years with Todd and to know him from so far back, and to see him do this. Very happy for him and for the entire Helton family, certainly his wife and children as well.
Mike Keith, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, affectionately known as the VOT. You can find him at 10 Voice on Twitter or on X. And it's been a revelation finding Mike on social media. Actually, again, saw that clip that you did from Pollard's Barbecue over the weekend and different stuff. It's because you're not constantly on there inundating folks with stuff. And so it's one of those deals where when Mike says something on Twitter, it's worth checking out. But
yeah,
and hope, and yeah, exactly. I mean, efficient. I like it. Preseason camp starts Wednesday. Obviously, again, there's an open practice Saturday at Nissan Stadium. You do have to have a ticket to get in, as Mike mentioned. But so much has taken place over this offseason with this team, Mike, and it's finally time to see what it all looks like, I guess. What are you most anticipating seeing here over this first few days of preseason camp?
I want to see Brian Callahan at work. I've seen him some in the practices during the OTAs and the mini camp, but we're getting ready to see the real thing. Now, the first few days of practice is obviously that sort of like the high schools do, where they ramp up, and the league has that as well now, which I think is a good thing for players to come in and sort of get to work their way up to full pads, which will be sometime the middle of next week, early to mid next week. But I want to watch the head coach. I want to see what he does. And I also, want to watch Denard Wilson coach the defense. He is absolutely the head coach of the defense. And so I want to watch what he's able to do. I want to see the rookies like everybody else does now that they are fully in with the vets. Interesting decision, guys. And I was surprised by this. Brian Callahan is bringing in everybody tomorrow at the same time. He could have brought rookies, injured players, and quarterbacks in early. He chose not to do that. He's bringing everybody in at the same time because he wants everybody in feeling like they're very much part of the same football team from the jump. And so I mean, it's all going to be fascinating to see how quickly it comes together.
Absolutely. And Mike, I am curious. Is there any guy in particular in that rookie class, or maybe if you could just even kind of put it into context? It seems like we take the kid gloves off, obviously, at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And is tomorrow or Wednesday kind of when that officially happens, or do some guys kind of grasp that earlier? And if so, maybe who's a guy that you're particularly maybe excited about seeing in the full scheme of things as we get into the nitty gritty this week?
I was kind of shaking my head, Wade, because I think somewhat yes, because you're wondering who can start practice.
Mm-hmm.
Does somebody have to go on to PUP, or is somebody off to the side because they don't pass the conditioning test? So you don't exactly know if it starts right away. If everybody comes in, passes the conditioning test, then you're just sort of watching to see what goes on the first few days. But I just don't believe in much of what I see until I see people in pads. It's a totally different game. And I don't just say that because of the hitting, although that is a large part of it. But what has always amazed me through my time covering college and pro football is the fact that some guys are just as fast with their pads on as they are when they run the 40. Some guys are actually faster for some strange reason. Seems like they play faster than what their 40 time is. And then there are certain guys who've run these wild 40s and their speed doesn't translate to the field. And you're like, what happened? So a lot of it's how you carry your pads, how you play in those situations. Do you tire out more? Some guys can just play. You get some people that look like they're straight out of Fitness magazine and they have these great physiques, and then you have these other guys who don't look like that. And the don't look like that guys sometimes end up being much better football players because so much of the game is innate and it's about wanting it. It's about aggressiveness. It's about a lack of fear. And back to the other part too, it's how fast do you play? You can't measure any of that until you see some of that. So yeah, I'm going to be interested to see if T'Vondre Sweat's ready to go for the start of camp. You bet I am. But am I going to fully judge T'Vondre Sweat until I see him with football pads on? No.
Also, I loved what you mentioned a moment ago. So much of this offseason was kind of offensive based and driven, and the headlines were about the coaching staff and the acquisitions there. But I'm kind of like you. I am really fascinated to see what Coach Wilson potentially brings, kind of putting his thumbprints and kind of DNA on this defense heading into camp, and then obviously beyond that.
Well, and to see who he likes.
Right.
Who he likes for his defense. And that will become pretty obvious within the first 2 weeks of camp as you'll watch the rotations, because you'll say, oh, he likes so-and-so in these situations, or, oh, he doesn't like this guy as much, or, you'll be able to get a feel for the players that he feels like fit in. Like, Jamal Adams, for example, you get the impression that when they were going to add a safety, somebody said, well, we need a Jamal Adams type. That's the kind of type guy we need for Denard Wilson's defense. And maybe somebody said, well, why don't we just go get Jamal Adams? He's available. So, how does Jamal fit? How does Roger McCreary fit? How does Jack Gibbons fit? How does Sebastian Joseph Day fit in the defensive line? How does Arden Key fit? Are they going to find different ways to use Kenneth Murray? All of those different things are going to be things that I'm watching for. And also the mix and match quotient of it too, from the standpoint about, does he like to go 6 defensive backs? And if so, who are the 6?
Mm-hmm.
Does he play a 3 defensive end package? Is a guy like Caleb Murray or Rashad Weaver a different player in different schemes within this defense, even if they're not starters? Are they regular rotators in certain situations? So, a lot of that will be telltale towards what he likes, and will also start to tell us a story towards what the 48-man roster will be like on game day. Meaning somebody's got to play special teams, and hey, if we know this particular player is going to be used on third downs, then he's definitely going to be one of those special teams guys, which means somebody else is not.
Right.
So you start putting together the math of all of it too, which I think is a lot of fun.
Mike Keith, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, and we're so happy to have him. Mike, as the only VOT, you've seen every coach in Tennessee Titans history.
I have.
For some reason, it feels like to me, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong, because we go that far back and you're not worried about telling me I'm wrong. It feels like the dynamic from Vrabel to Callahan is different than any other transition that we've seen. Maybe more something. I don't know. Have you seen another change that has been as
well? Munchak to Wisenhunt
maybe
was very different.
Okay,
very different people. Munchak was the straight ahead sort of guy, whereas Wisenhunt was very acerbic, very sarcastic, kind of more, trying to lean more toward the cerebral than what Munch was. Munch a really smart guy, but Munch very much trusted the players. He because he was, a Hall of Fame player in his own right. So he didn't sit around and tell them everything they should do. Wisenhunt wanted to be a guy who told them everything they should do. So that was a big change.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a very different change in terms of football style, from the standpoint that Brian is very much going to coach the offense. And he's got Nick Holtz, and he's got other coaches who are certainly going to help him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's running the offense. His week is going to be set up for him to set up the offense. That's how in working with him on his schedule for radio and TV, we already know it's going to be vastly different. Whereas Mike Vrabel was in with all groups at different times. This guy is a very different offensive personality because it's going to be his show. And we have had some guys like that. Wisenhunt was like that too, but it was it was very definitive in this case that this is the direction he's going to go. Their personalities, Vrabel's personality and Brian Callahan's personality are not as dissimilar as you might think. They both have wicked senses of humor. They both like to have a lot of fun. Really good guys. Now, Vrabel is much more sort of in your face than Callahan is. He's more laid back. And I don't mean that in terms of coaching style. I mean, if Vrabes is walking down the hall here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, you know it, right? I mean, here he comes. He's big. He's Mike Vrabel. If Brian's walking by you have to stop and realize, oh, that's the head coach, because he's not as big and boisterous in that way. But I think, the guys had a lot of fun with Mike Vrabel, and they're already having a lot of fun with Brian Callahan too, which is the kind of thing that you want to be able to have with your head coach in the pros. I think I just don't think there's any other way to do it today. You have to treat them like men. You've certainly got to coach them hard, and you want to win games. But at the same time, I mean, that old school stuff about, playing mind games and, just that doesn't fly anymore.
You mentioned passing by Vrabel in the hallways at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, and it made me go back to that thing after the hiring cycle where he didn't get a job because he was too physically imposing for some folks. When you heard that, what was your reaction to it?
Well, I know what they mean. I don't think it was physically imposing. I think what it is Mike is big. Everything about Mike is big. Physically, he's big. His personality is big. His opinions are big. His jokes are big. Everything about him, there's a Mike Ditka quality to him that, and I can't think of many people that I can compare him to, but I think Mike intimidates people for that reason. And I think more people, they're in the hiring cycle, they wanted less of that big personality and more of that guy who just sort of fit in with everything. I think that was a change that was in this hiring cycle. Now, do I think he gets hired in the next hiring cycle? You bet I do. Because somebody's going to go, who cares? I mean, he won 59 games. He did a pretty good job. He won back-to-back divisions, and he was NFL Coach of the Year for a reason, and all of those sorts of things. But as was with our situation, I mean, when we made the change, the main reason is Amy Adams-Strunk wanted a different dynamic from Rand Carthon to Chad Brinker to the head coach to the training staff to the analytics department. I mean, and this really started in baseball. The Astros were one of those teams that were one of the first teams to do it, and several of the successful teams they've kind of got a leadership council, right? That's the term that's being used. There are a lot of people that have input, and while the GM or the president or even the head coach in some instances may have the final say, ownership wants that leadership council. That's what the Detroit Lions have. And Amy Adams-Strunk is a big fan of what they're doing and is a huge fan of Sheila Hamp, who's their owner. And the sense is that if you have this leadership council of people, then you thoroughly vet everything you do in a way that makes you make the best decisions in every area. And, Mike Vrabel was not brought in with that. He was 5 years under the traditional GM head coach thing. And she said up front, she said she didn't know if that would work because Mike is this big presence. And it did not go the way she wanted, and so she made the change. But I think it's different strokes for different folks. It works in a lot of different ways at different places. It's worked for us. We had 6 straight winning seasons.
Right.
But John Robinson was the GM where we had a lot of winning football games. But she feels like for the sustained success to get to that level, that's where we need to be. So that was what our mindset was, and the biggest reason why the change was made here, in my opinion. And I think it was more of the trend out there in the hiring cycle, which is why, do I believe somebody said that? Yes, I do believe somebody said that, but I think that's more about what they meant.
Mike Keith, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Mike, always a pleasure when we can get you on, and appreciate you taking some time out of your going from Memphis to Mountain City this weekend and
Lenore
get you
City.
some rest. Oh, so you didn't go all the way up. Okay.
No, I didn't go I went to Lenore City yesterday.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Get some rest.
I will.
We appreciate you.
I'm ready to play ball. Let's go. I've had enough rest. Let's do this.
All right, then. Be careful what you wish for. Hey,
I want it.
We'll catch up.
I'm ready for this season. This is going to be one of the more fascinating teams we've ever had. I just want to see what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Mike, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
Throwback Thursday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We are in our final segment of the day, and appreciate you guys sticking around through our rough start. But we're coming to you from the Lee Company Studios here at First Horizon Park, home of the Nashville Sounds. They are starting to scatter out onto the field to get loose, get ready for their 6:35 matchup with visiting Charlotte. Game 3 of their 6-game series here this week. And Wade, it's always fun when we're able to get Mike Heath on.
He's a wealth of knowledge. He's passionate as they come. And he literally has called every Titans game in existence. I mean, he is the record book. He's the voice of record, as it were. And it's always great because he does a great job of towing the company line, but also engaging with the fans and engaging with us in the media as well. So always appreciative of his time.
Absolutely. Again, this is our final segment. It's the grab bag, and we figured we would start at Big Ten Media Days that are going on this week, where they have welcomed in a couple of new institutions from the West Coast. Both Deshaun Foster from UCLA and Lincoln Riley from the University of Southern California spoke, and Deshaun didn't get off to a great start.
No, is the easiest way to put it. No, he did not.
It was tough for Deshaun in the press conference phase of Big Ten Media Days. And, again, we've been to the SEC Media Days. When you're up there on the podium or at the podium with all of those media members staring in your mouth, if you're not comfortable with that kind of thing, it can be a little uncomfortable. And apparently that was the case for Deshaun Foster, first year UCLA coach, and got a little nervous. His prepared statements weren't great, but it seems like, as he was doing the car wash afterwards, going from individuals to individuals. In the smaller groups, it really seemed like he was significantly better is what you gather from this article on CBS Sports. But his start made it to the social media channels.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm glad that he improved because he really had nowhere to go but up, if we're being honest. And I've been there. We've all been there. I mean, there's a reason that death is ranked below public speaking on most people's fears list, right? I mean, and you could just see the wheels turning. He got up there and he kind of was going with the flow, and then things just really got off the rails.
Just kind of ground to a halt.
And he looked off to the side, and when he looked off to the side, and he realized there was nobody to save him, nobody to help him.
That deer in headlights look.
He let out the nervous laugh is the part that kind of got me, because he chuckles at himself for a moment. He realizes he's in this predicament, but then he also has this realization: there's nobody here to save me, and it was cringe, as the kids would say.
Yeah, it really was. But he also explained, he'd rather do a Q&A, than just come off the cuff with an expansive view of his program and himself and that kind of thing. And he says, I'm not a rah-rah guy. You don't get any points for being rah-rah, but I played football. I didn't start coaching at 20. I played football in college at a high level. I got drafted playing football in the NFL for a few years at a high level. And then I decided to coach. My path is way different than a lot of these other people that are coaching and up here doing all that stuff. Just like when I'm recruiting, it's not a pitch. Do you understand? I'm not a car salesman. Have there been some really great speakers out there that haven't been able to coach?
Undoubtedly.
Right. There you go.
Yep. And he is correct. And I will never forget. I've talked on this show about the old school, how I became a Jets fan was we had the old satellite dish, Mo, and I will never forget 1998, Oregon with Akili Smith versus Deshaun Foster and Cade McNown, UCLA. Game day was there. UCLA was right in the mix for the national championship that year. And I had to fine tune that giant satellite dish out in the backyard, but I found an ABC. This is before, every game was on television. I found the game. I watched the game. And I remember he was a freshman then. I was like, holy smokes, this guy is unbelievable. And then UCLA ends up winning that game. And then they lost later in the year as part of that wild finish to the season that ultimately ends up with Tennessee getting into the BCS championship. But he's got the goods, and I think he'll do a decent job. But it was kind of funny that we're talking UCLA joining the Big Ten, and this for all the schools, they're the ones kind of seemingly lagging behind a little bit in terms of the public perception, which is crazy to think about, right?
It really is.
UCLA.
I mean,
Oregon is floating a giant duck down the river in Indianapolis and just knocking it out of the park with their marketing. They're a favorite to make the college football playoff in their very first year in the Big Ten. And optics-wise, with all due respect to Deshaun Foster, it was not a good look yesterday. But the good news is the games are not won and lost on optics.
No doubt. So here's my question. In light of Deshaun Foster's struggles at Big Ten Media Day, who came out looking worse, Deshaun Foster or Lincoln Riley, who in year 3 at Southern Cal, year 3 of a 10-year, $10 million contract, says, we are playing catch up.
Oof.
We're playing catch up in facilities. We're playing catch up in NIL. We're playing catch up in resources within the program. We've been playing catch up in damn near every way you can think.
Man, I interpret that one of two ways. That does not seem like a coach that is happy with his administration. And there's two ways to go about that. There's the quiet and the easy way, or, the difficult way perhaps. But he went guns a-blazing. And I had to look this up. Jennifer Cohen is the AD at USC. She is probably
you're going to need to know that name.
She is not extremely impressed with those remarks because, there's one way to go about it, and he chose the more violent approach, it seems.
He did kind of choose violence, it sounds like. Not coincidentally.
Yes.
BetOnline has put out its first college football coach fired in 2024 odds. Sitting atop those odds is Florida's Billy Napier at 4-1. But if you scroll down a little bit, you can find Lincoln Riley on this list. He's 25-1 alongside Dabo Sweeney and Brent Venables.
If you're looking for some value, via one person's demise, that's maybe not a bad value pick because it does feel like, and that's the crazy thing. The Big Ten is, obviously the home of the defending national champ, but they've got some really, really good teams, and that's in addition to the ones that are already coming. This league is going to be just wild, I think. And with the travel involved, man, it is going to be crazy. And I just don't know where USC in particular, obviously losing Caleb Williams, you're wondering where do they fit in this equation? It may not be a very flashy year, and you wonder if that's enough to pull the plug, especially after you kind of ruffle the tail feathers early in the day or early in the season.
And again, 10 years, $100 million contract. To whom much is given, much is expected. And you certainly don't want to hear in year 3, we're playing catch up. I said that he was alongside Dabo Sweeney and Brent Venables. Actually, Venables, who replaced Riley at Oklahoma, is 33-1. Sweeney and Riley are each listed at 25-1. Again, Billy Napier leading the pack at 4-1. Man,
Sam Pittman's probably on that list too, if I had to guess.
5-1.
Yeah, he's right there in Napier territory. I mean, and the SEC, that's two ways to look at it, right? You sometimes want to be that first to market situation, and if it ain't going well, we've seen SEC programs in particular, they'll just pull the plug right there in the middle of the season. It feels like one of those two guys does not make it through the season, in my mind.
And it was former Florida athletics director Jeremy Foley who so famously said, that which must be done eventually should be done immediately.
Oof. It is
draw your own conclusions.
Yeah.
But yeah, Napier, Pittman, Mario Cristobal at 6-1, Dave Aranda at 7-1, Clark Lee, who about this time last year signed an extension, if you recall, it's 8-1. You've also got Shane Beamer from South Carolina on this list, and the aforementioned guys. Deion Sanders 50-1.
I need longer than that.
I don't think.
And they won three games last year. They were horrible the year before. They were pretty bad last year. They're probably going to be, as a team, pretty bad again this year. How do you pull the plug at that point?
I think you knew what you were getting.
Yeah.
And I think you knew what you were going to get, in terms of from the coaching position and on the field. I don't think that's very realistic, Deion.
Yeah, I'm gonna need them to pump them numbers up before I get involved there.
I'm not even sure why he's on this list. Ryan Day, who you were just talking to our guest Nick Swisher about, 12-1.
And that is the funniest of all because John Cooper, where you at? I mean, you can go 11-0 and you lose to Michigan that many times in a row. They're coming for you. And Vrabel was the real chic guy a couple of years ago. I think that moment has passed, but man, Day has no excuses this year. With a brand new,
available
with a new Michigan coach, with a loaded Ohio State offense coming back, with a loaded Ohio State defense coming back, and Chip Kelly involved. He's kind of ran out of excuses. Will it be enough? That's the crazy part. They could go 11-0 and lose that game. And we could be talking, and that's a guy who's only lost he's lost single-digit games, I think. He's like 80-9 or something crazy, but 3 of the losses have been in a row.
I'm fascinated by Cincinnati coach Scott Satterfield being on this list at 14-1 because he beat the posse out the door at Louisville. And now he's under the gun at Cincinnati. So be interesting to watch. College football is going to be interesting to watch. We're kind of getting geared toward that. We're going to be talking a lot more about that here over the coming weeks, obviously, as the season gets closer. So come back 2 o'clock tomorrow from Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic. See you then.